Hey, it's Brett, and this is Brett and Some Books. Today we're continuing the plot to seize the White House by Jules Archer, and this is Chapter 1 of Part 3. The McCormick-Dickstein Committee agreed to listen to Butler's story in a secret executive session in New York City on November 20th, 1934. The two co-chairmen of the committee were Representative John McCormick of Massachusetts and New York Representative Samuel Dickstein, who later became a New York State Supreme Court Justice. Butler's testimony, developed in 2 hours of questions and answers, was recorded in full. Simultaneously, Paul Cumley French broke the story in the Stern papers, the Philadelphia Record, and the New York Post. Under the headline, $3 million bid for fascist Army Baird, he wrote, Major General Smedley D Butler revealed today that he has been asked by a group of wealthy New York brokers to lead a fascist government to set up a dictatorship in the United States. General Butler, ranking Major General in the Marine Corps up to his retirement 3 years ago, told his story today at a secret session of the Congressional Committee on Un-American Activities. McCormick opened the hearing by first noting that General Butler had been in the Marine Corps 33 years and 4 months and had received the Congressional Medal of Honor twice, establishing his integrity and credibility as a witness. Then he invited the general to just go ahead and tell in your own way what you know about an attempted fascist movement in this country. May I preface my remarks, Butler began, by saying, sir, that I have one interest in all of this, and that is to try to do my best to see that a democracy is maintained in this country. Nobody has either read about or known about General Butler, replied McCormick promptly, would have anything but that understanding. Butler then gave detailed testimony about everything that had happened in connection with the plot from the first visit of McGuire and Doyle on July 1st, 1933. Some of his testimony was not released in the official record of the hearings for reasons that will be discussed later, but was nevertheless ferreted out, copied, and made public by reporter John L. Spivak. The censored testimony is indicated by the symbol that I can see to distinguish it from the official testimony eventually released by the McCormick-Dickstein Committee. The same was true of testimony given by Paul Cumley French, who followed Butler as a witness, and the same symbol indicates the censored portions. Butler first described the attempts made by McGuire and Doyle to persuade him to go to the American Legion Convention and make a speech they had prepared for him. They were very desirous of unseating the royal family in control of the American Legion at the convention to be held in Chicago, and very anxious to have me take part in it. They said that they were not in sympathy with the present administration's treatment of the soldiers. They said, we represent the plain soldiers. We want you to come there and stampede the convention in a speech and help us fight to dislodge the royal family. He told of McGuire's revelation. He was the chairman of the Legion's Distinguished Guest Committee on the staff of National Commander Louis Johnson, and at McGuire's suggestion, Johnson had put Butler's name down as one of the distinguished guests to be invited to the convention. McGuire said that Johnson had been taken this list presented by McGuire of distinguished guests to the White House for approval, that Lewis Howe, one of the secretaries of the president, had crossed my name off and said that I was not to be invited, that the president would not have it. This tale had struck Butler as peculiar, since the president had been grateful for the general's assistance in winning the Republican votes for him away from Hoover, and their relations had always been cordial and warm.
I thought I smelled a rat right away, that they were trying to get me mad. To get my goat, I said nothing.
When you say you smelled a rat, you mean you had an idea that they were not telling the truth?
I could not reconcile their desire to serve the ordinary man in the ranks with their other aims. They did not seem to be the same. It looked to me as if they were trying to embarrass the administration in some way. I was just fishing to see what they had in mind. So many queer people come to my house all the time, and I like to feel them out.
McGuire had told him, Butler revealed, that invitation or no invitation, he and his supporters had figured out a way for Butler to address the Legion convention.
I said, "How is that without being invited?" And they said, "Well, you're to come as a delegate from Hawaii." I said, "I do not live in Hawaii." "Well, it does not make any difference. There is to be no delegate from the American Legion post there in Honolulu, and we have arranged to have you appointed by cable, by radio, to represent them at the convention." I said, "Yes, but I will not go in the back door." They said, "That will not be the back door. You must come." I said, "No, I will not do this." "Well," they said, "are you in sympathy with unhorsing the royal family?" I said, "Yes, because they have been selling out the common soldier in this legion for years. These fellows have been getting political plums and jobs and cheating the enlisted man in the army, and I am for putting them out. But I cannot do it by going in through the back door." "Well," they said, "we are going to get them out. We will arrange this."
Butler described the second visit of McGuire and Doyle a month later, at which time McGuire had unfolded a new plan they had developed to get Butler to the speaker's platform at the Chicago Convention of the Legion.
I was to get 200 or 300 legionnaires from around that part of the country and bring them on a special train to Chicago with me. They would sit around in the audience, be planted here and there. I was to appear in the gallery. These planted fellows were to begin to cheer and start a stampede and yell for a speech. Then I was going to go to the platform and make a speech. I said, "Make a speech about what?" "Oh," they said, "we have one here." They pulled out this speech. They said, "We will leave it here with you to read over, and you see if you can get these fellows to come." I said, "Listen, these friends of mine that I know around here, even if they wanted to go, could not afford to go. It would cost them $100 to $150 to go out there, stay for 5 days, and come back." And they said, "Well, we will pay for that." I said, "How can you pay it? You are disabled soldiers. How did you get the money to do that?" "Oh, we have friends. We will get the money." Then I began to smell a rat for fair.
To test the seriousness of their purpose and the extent of their backing, he had challenged their claim to have access to the funds they claimed to have.
They hauled out a bank deposit book and showed me. I think it was $42,000 in deposits on the occasion, and on another occasion it was $64,000.
Do you know what bank that was?
I do not. They just flipped the pages over. Now, I have some experience as a policeman in Philadelphia. I wanted to get to the bottom of this thing and not scare them off, because I felt then that they had something real. They had so much money in a limousine. Wounded soldiers do not have limousines or that kind of money. They said, "We will pay the bill. Look around and see if you cannot get 200 or 300 men, and we will bring them out there, and we will have accommodations for them."
Butler described McGuire's third visit without Doyle, during which the bond salesman had inquired as to his progress in rounding up soldiers to take to the convention. Pointing out to McGuire that the speech given him urged a return by the United States to the gold standard, Butler had demanded to know what that had to do with the ostensible reasons for which he was being asked to go to Chicago.
McGuire said, We want to see the soldier's bonus paid in gold. We do not want the soldier to have rubber money or paper money. We want the gold. That is the reason for this speech."
Butler had then sought to get McGuire to reveal the source of the funds on deposit in his name.
He said that it was given to him by 9 men, and the largest contributor had given $9,000, and that the donations ran all the way from $2,500 to $9,000. I said, "What is the object?" He said the object was to take care of the rank and file of the soldiers, to get them their bonus, and get them properly cared for. Well, I knew that people who had $9,000 to give away were not in favor of the bonus. That looked fishy right away. He gave me the names of 2 men, Colonel Murphy, Grayson MP Murphy, for who he worked, was one. He said, "I work for him. I am in his office." I said to him, "How did you happen to be associated with that kind of people if you are for the ordinary soldier and his bonus and his proper care? You know damn well that these bankers are not going to swallow that. There is something in this, Jerry McGuire. Besides what you have told me, I can see that." He said, "Well, I am a businessman. I've got a wife and family to keep, and they took good care of them. And if you would take my advice, you would be a businessman too." I said, "What has Murphy got to do with this?" "Well," he said, "don't you know who he is?" I said, "Just indirectly. He is a broker in New York, but I do not know any of his connections." "Well," he said, "he is a man who underwrote the formation of the American Legion for $125,000. He underwrote it and paid for the field of work of organizing it and had not gotten all of it back yet. That is the reason he makes kings, isn't it? He still has got a club over their heads. He's on our side, though. He wants to see the soldiers cared for."
Butler revealed that he had then expressed sharply critical sentiments about the Legion. He later discovered that these remarks had been expunged from the record.
"Is he, Murphy, responsible too for making the Legion a strike-breaking outfit?" "No, he does not control anything in the Legion now." I said, "You know very well that it is nothing but a strike-breaking outfit used by capital for that purpose, and it is the reason we have all those big clubhouses, and the reason I pulled out from it. They have been using these dumb soldiers to break strikes." He said, "Murphy hasn't got anything to do with that. He's a very fine fellow." I said, "I do not doubt that, but there is some reason for his putting $125,000 into this."